So at this time, I'm going to ring the bell to officially start our meeting. So welcome. Today's date is Tuesday, October the 5th, and fall is here. And at this time, I would like to invite up Julie Brandel for today's invocation. And Julie has been flying here, there, and everywhere with, in the next couple years, stepping in to become our district governor. So rare is it that she doesn't have something going on any given day. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Everyone is so busy right now, and so it's so good for us to just take a moment, and if you will bow your head with me, let us pray silently together, each one of us, according to our individual beliefs. Let us offer thanks for our food and blessings for one another. Let us be a source of hope for those in need and contentment for those who are lonely. Let us give gratitude for the opportunity to serve Rotary, and let the feelings of love, kindness, and a well-directed yet gentle spirit always be reflected in our actions. Let us give thanks for all Rotarians for their service above self. Amen.
Thank you, Julie. And you know, just in this last week, in passing a church in my neighborhood, I saw a pretty profound little sign that is very much in keeping with who we are as a Rotary Club. It simply said this: it said, love God, love your neighbor, and change the world. And I think that that's what we're all about, each of us, in coming to serve and to make a difference. At this time, I would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you would join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now, the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned? All right, thank you. Thank you. Well, today has been quite a day. It started awful early. I was out at Portage Lakes this morning, and the Dragon Boat team, which Susan Colville Hall is part of, and they are breast cancer survivors. They had a very special meeting out at Rex Lake today, and Craftsman's Park. There was a gathering probably of about 150 people, but Good Morning America was there. And they were there to honor them for the incredible work that they've been doing in making men and women aware of breast cancer and survivorship and such. It was amazing. And I took a number of pictures. I'll try and get those to you, Cheryl. And I also have a couple of videos. One of them, the actual video from them being on television. But I must say it was somewhat personal to me, in that my dear bride of 37 years, Sharon, is a recent survivor of breast cancer. And it was really, really wonderful. And at the end, the woman who was the MC made a presentation to all of the Dragon team, and that Walgreens was giving them beauty supplies, which I thought was really, really dear. And then on top of that, a $10,000 check to the Dragon team. And so congratulations, ladies, and congratulations, Susan. And we look forward to that wonderful work continuing on. So our greeter for today is David Hall, and I'd like to call David up.
Thank you, Steve. I do not see any guests today in person, and on the at home, I believe we don't have any guests. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Do we happen to have any Rotary ambassadors in the room or on the screen? Any Rotary Ambassadors? Sandy,
Last night I attended the grant committee meeting. Monthly thing.
say it again if you would.
Sorry about that. Last night I attended the district grant committee meeting.
All right. Well, thank you.
Hi, this is Cheryl. Last week I attended the zone meeting with Jennifer Jones, our incoming president.
Fantastic. Thank you, Cheryl. Miss Mella, I would like to invite you up to share with us about our Rotary history and world history, and also what's going on around town. And by the way, come here. This lady has been involved so faithfully over the years out at the Rotary camp, and she's going to be making an announcement about something happening on Saturday that she'll be at. And you've heard, some of you've heard about, but 2 years ago, the last time they had it, my family attended, really enjoyed it, it was phenomenal. But the surprise was this lady, when she got up and spoke about the camp, and Mela, as many of you know, is an incredible worker, but wow, what a communicator. And that's true. I mean, I was like, wow. So here you are.
Thank you, Steve. All right, hello, everybody. I have today's,
Can't see you. You only see your eyes.
can you see me? All right, today's Rotary History Minute. I'm filling in for Laura Smiley. She couldn't make it, and I was happy to help her out. So, Rotarian Norman P. Auburn, president of the Akron Peninsula University. He was a Rotarian in 1958-59. He came to the University of Akron as its 10th president in 1951. He drove its development from a relatively small municipally owned institution into a large, diverse, state-supported university with an enrollment of nearly 20,000 students. He rallied tremendous local support between the university, and he laid the groundwork for the 1956-57 cooperation between the university and the city of Akron, encouraging the campus and downtown development. Evidence on how concern for the well-being of his students occurred at the June 11th, 1956 graduation ceremony. Current honorary Rotarian Vivian Herrig was graduating on that date. She was pregnant with her first child, Barbara Ann, and Dr. Auburn was concerned about her pregnancy, and he just assigned Dick Hansford, a student counselor, to follow her around with a chair so she could sit down at any time she wanted or needed to. Their daughter was born 1 month late on July 13th, 1956, and Vivian and Jack have courted Dr. Auburn as a friend from that time on. Isn't that great? Also, Rotary International President 1958-59 was Clifford A. Randall from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Rotary theme was Help Shape the Future. The 1959 International Convention was held in New York City with 15,475 attendees. In 1957, in the United States, troops were sent to Arkansas to enforce anti-segregation laws. The average car sold for $2,749. Cars had larger and taller tail fins, more lights, and more powerful engines. The average cost of a new house was $12,220. Average wages were $4,500 per year, $4,550. Your average monthly rent was $90 a month, and gas was 24 cents per gallon. Movies included 12 Angry Men and The Bridge Over the River Kwai. The TV shows Perry Mason and Maverick aired for the first time, and the final episode of the year was I Love Lucy aired. Music continued to be rock and roll with artists like Little Richard. Major world events of 1957 was the Asian flu pandemic, which claimed over 150,000 lives worldwide. The Treaty of Rome was established, creating common markets.
The Soviet Union launched the first space satellite, Sputnik 1. The USSR and the USA launched intercontinental ballistic missiles, and the military dictatorship ends in Venezuela. So that's your history for this today. Our upcoming events, I think they're going to show them on the screen as well. We have Messiah Lutheran Church, as Steve mentioned, has been doing an annual spaghetti dinner in memory of Dick Farkas, and it benefits Akron Rotary Camp to help us send kids to camp. It's really a delicious dinner. It's $10 for a ticket. If you want a ticket, we have tickets here today. You can get your meal to go, or you can attend in person. It includes salad, your spaghetti, meatballs, garlic bread, dessert. They're also going to have a dessert auction. So it's really inexpensive, and it is really delicious. I know Dan Reynolds looks forward to going every year. He's like, oh my gosh, best spaghetti ever. So, and then again, it's to go if you want, or to attend in person and have some fellowship. And hopefully we'll have some Rotarians there that you can join with. The next thing coming up is presented by fellow Rotarian Geraldine Wine-O'Keefer. It'll be October 29th at the Akron Women's City Club. She'll be conducting residencies, reflections, and rememberings. It's a retrospective exhibition of landscapes and maps dedicated to Bruce Keeper. So keep those two dates in mind. All right, Karen, I think you've got something else for us now?
Good morning, everyone. Just a reminder that we are in the time period that we are looking for new leadership for our organization. So if you have nominees for the vice president, secretary, treasurer, please get those to Dr. McGregor. He is leading the group according to our bylaws. It's the 5 past immediate presidents that are our selection committee that brings the nominations to us. So thanks.
Thank you, ladies. With those wonderful announcements, I just need to see if anybody is happy out there today. And if you are, Cheryl, I'll ask you, let me know about anybody who's zooming in. David Hall.
I have 2 happy dollars and I'll collect. First happy dollars for my daughter. She continues to play well, but they did have their first loss, so they will probably no longer be number 2 in the nation, but she's still doing well and having fun. My second happy dollar is I was thanking all sorts of people last week, Steve, and I forgot one important person. David Miller stepped up last week and helped me greet at the last second, so I really appreciate that, Dave. You hang on here.
And I have 2 happy dollars to thank David Miller for a wonderful after-hours event. That was so much fun to have cigars and cocktails in person with our fellow Rotarians, guests. It was so much fun. Never knew the place existed, so thank you.
Anybody else happy?
Well, you stole mine, so I'm just going to give another $2. So thank you. It was a great event, and it was nice to see fellow Rotarians, and it's just always good to see fellow Rotarians.
Well, thanks. I have 5 happy dollars. That's really all I have, so that's why you guys get 5. But that is, I just wanted to thank everybody that came to the event. I tried to keep track. I mean, we had 20 plus. We had a couple guests. We had some brand new Rotarians that have really never even been to a meeting. And pardon me. We had potential new meeting or new members, and I mean, whether you smoked a cigar, drank a drink, just socialize. That's what the night was all about. So Julie Brandel said she was coming, then she didn't show up, so I'm calling her out right now. But other than that, all right. All right, Julie said she was drinking bourbon at the time, if it's any consolation. But thank you all, it was a great event, so we'll have to do something like that again sooner rather than later.
Okay,
I'm going to give $2 happy. I was a chain smoker until I was 5, and I realized it would stunt my growth. So I'm glad you smokers had a good time.
Sandy Narrative.
Thank you. I also had $2 happy. One for being at a Rotary lunch for the first time for me since February of 2020. And then also just for being introduced to such an amazing space. So I think Bill Mandy helped us find it. So it's awesome here. So thank you.
President, Mr. Kima. Thank you, Dave. Great to be here, and there's $5.
Hello.
Just to piggyback off that, yeah, had a fantastic time at the David Miller After Hours. And thank you so much for that. President Bowie, it's great to see you, and thank you so much for entrusting me with the Interact Club at North High School. Sunday, October 10th, we have a trash pickup in North Hill. That'll be our first event, and you're all invited. I will send you more details about that. And then lastly, I just started working out. So make sure if you want to fight me now, because who knows how big I will get.
Very impressive, Brian. Thank you. Anybody else happy? Cheryl's happy.
Well, first, I want to tell everybody online, we are going to get to you, Susan. We see you waving your hand. And I am happy because my sister is now officially a breast cancer survivor as of this week.
Wow, fantastic.
We have Susan and Connor
And
online.
Connor. So we'll let Susan go first, and then Connor, you can bring it home.
Oh, right. Well, I am absolutely thrilled, and I'd like to donate $10. First, because our team was selected for the Good Morning America program to introduce Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And second, because our president of Akron Rotary came to see us in our Dragons in the Mist morning. And it was awesome to have him there. And for Rotary, for allowing us to park our cars in the parking lot, because we had a crowd of supporters out there along with 50 some members of the team. So it was an awesome morning, and thank you all.
Mr. Connor?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I have $20 happy that I will bring with me for the next meeting, or send a check, whatever's preferred, but kind of an arbitrary number, but a few things, I'll hop on the bandwagon about the Rotary After Hours. It was just a phenomenal event. I know a lot's been said already, but thanks to Dave for setting that up, and just great to see everyone there in person. Cigar Lodge has a new recurring customer thanks to that. So I'm sure my wife's thrilled.
My first one will be, again, just in honor of what took place out there at Portage Lakes. That was awesome with a capital A. And kudos to those ladies. They have drawn national attention. And Susan has been very faithful as being part of that team and helping to build that team. So congratulations to them. The second is to say, yes, last Thursday was a fabulous time of being able to gather and to have a social event. Julie will let you off the hook this time. But next time, and I believe you had even conveyed that you would smoke a cigar, is that correct? Ah, David, was that misinformation? She told me he's full of crap. Well, Julie, I want to give you a little bit of encouragement. No? Well, I wanted you to know that the Karens carried the day. Karen Herdlicka smoked a cigar, and Hughes Karen, she smoked a cigar, and we would have had a trifecta had you been there. She said they're much better women than she is. Not true. But anyhow, it really was great to be back. And you know, we had rented it from like 6 to 8, but I left at 8:30. I had to go to a birthday party. And Connor had filled me in. There were people that actually stayed till right up to the end at 9 o'clock. So it just goes to show how hungry we are to be back in person, to fellowship, and to be able to shake hands, give hugs or whatever. And we'll do it again in the not too distant future. I don't know that we'll necessarily be at the smoke shop, but we can look at something else. Here we go. Is this for Connor?
That's Connor.
That's Susan?
Okay. thank
All right, Susan says, my 10 happy dollars were to celebrate the Dragon team being selected to bring in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Steve Bowie for attending the Dragons in the Mist filming with Good Morning America this morning on Rex Lake. So honored to be a member of this team in Rotary. And then Rotary After Hours from Connor, phenomenal. Cigar Lodge has a new membership customer. It's Connor's wife, no. My wife is thrilled, he says. Brian Keelan's podcast is wonderful, check it out. He has the face for podcasting. Whoops, I mean the voice. Laugh out loud. Courtney and I are expecting baby number 2 in April. Emerson will be a big sister, 20 happy dollars. Congratulations. Wow, fabulous, fabulous. Mela.
I'm sorry, I'm late to the party so I have 10 happy dollars because I am 10 years up.
Wow, outstanding.
Mammograms encourage your spouses, your friends, everybody gets it.
So Mela has 10 happy dollars because she is 10 years out as a breast cancer survivor. And she said, as a word of encouragement to all of you ladies, make sure you get your exams, your mammograms and everything. And the science is improving day by day. And I am believing, and I believe this to be a reality, that in the not too distant future, we are collectively going to come up with a cure for this terrible disease, because our ladies have suffered too long and too hard. So thank you for sharing that. So at this time, I have the pleasure of introducing today's speaker. Chris Canova is with Jobs for Ohio's graduates, and he has been with Tri-County Jobs for Ohio's graduates since 1993. And in 2002, he became the executive director. He also serves as the CEO of Jobs for Ohio's graduates, the coordinating body for 6 state affiliates of Jobs for America's graduates. So I'm going to welcome him as he comes and shares with us about the crucial and vitally important work that he is doing in helping our young people transition into the workplace. So Chris, we're glad to have you. We're honored to have you, and we look forward to what you'll be sharing with us. So thank you.
Scratch. Thank you for inviting me today. I greatly appreciate it, and I was excited to come today because we're like-minded. I know the people sitting in that room and on Zoom in the Rotary are committed to affecting the lives of people in your community, and we do much the same here at Jobs for Ohio Graduates. Let me give you a little bit of a background on me. I know they shared a bio, but I've been here since 1994, I believe, and with no real intention of staying for any longer than a year or 2 or 3 to gain some experience. But what I found is that I was placed at Akron Garfield High School as a teacher, more or less, was that I love the engagement with young people. And I loved the opportunity to work with businesses at the same time to provide opportunities for our kids. And I've never left. So I'm very thankful. And I realize that I'm fortunate to be in the position that I am now as the executive director of Jobs for Ohio Graduates. So with that, I am going to share my screen and tell you a little bit about us. Hopefully you all see that. And Jobs for Ohio Graduates has been in business locally since 1987. We serve Summit, Medina, Stark, and Trumbull counties. And we are why is my PowerPoint not working now? There we go. We are a not-for-profit 501c3, as you can well imagine. We're part of a national organization. Jobs for America's Graduates serves 39 states across the country, 1,400 locations, 75,000 young people. Here in Ohio, we serve communities in Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, Akron, the communities I just mentioned, Appalachia, Southeast Ohio, and several other areas throughout the state, in about 80 plus programs working with young people 16 to 24 years of age. We work with individuals whose path to a successful transition to employment or further education has been broken. That takes on all kinds of different scenarios, ranging from behind in school to truancy, perhaps a member of a single parent household, perhaps an adjudicated youth, a foster child. We help anybody who comes to us and requests it, quite frankly. And it's one of our goals to make sure that every young person who wants the help to have that successful transition, we're going to provide it. Proof's in the pudding, right? And why have we been in business and as successful as we have been over the course of several years? 90% graduation rate is our goal. We had 92% percentage rate last year. These are a year behind, of course. Employed 74%, positive outcomes 82%. That means that when a kid leaves us, over 80% of them are either working, going to school, in the military, or doing a combination of those things. 78% of our kids are working full time. 80% plus are in a full-time placement, meaning they're in college or working full-time. So we're very much a data-driven organization. We work with three kinds of individuals. Typically, school to careers here is essentially our high school program. So locally, we serve all of the Akron public high schools: Stowe, Talmadge, Green. I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody else. Barberton, of course. And we work with young people identified to us by the administrations of those schools who may need a little bit of support. Sometimes that support is in the form of academic remediation, but most of the time it's in the support of more holistic in nature. We identify the barriers that are perhaps preventing them from attaining their credential or diploma, or perhaps getting to their goals after they graduate. So that is our school to career program. That's our longest standing program. Career Connections. That's a fancy way of saying we work with those young people who have dropped out of high school. Unfortunately, this is our fastest growing program. We have hundreds of young people in Summit County alone that take advantage of this program. Of course, we're driving towards the same thing. We're driving towards GED attainment, diploma attainment, and hopefully a sustainable job that can help support their families. But last but not least is our work experience initiatives. We have several work experience initiatives in Summit County and beyond. Namely, we help employers find the employees that they need. In this environment, it's quite challenging. We actually have 4 jobs for every 1 individual seeking a job. With that being said, we have a 12-month work experience program. We have over 250 employers that have, signed on to help our young people. And, we're excited about the impact that we're making with businesses and with our young people. Some pictures here. One of the things I thought of when I was preparing for this presentation is, what does Rotary do, right? A lot of what you do is fundamental to giving back to the community. Well, it's one of our pillars within our organization, not just as an organization to our clients or our participants, but making sure that our our participants are aware of the importance of giving back to their community, right? We're building this holistic program, that really builds on the whole person, not just about the academic piece, not just about the employment piece, but those elements that are going to create a more well-rounded person that's going to be a good citizen, quite frankly. And it's what we drive towards. These are some methods. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can imagine we're a mentor. We're what the kid needs. We meet the kid where they're at. We work together to identify what those needs might be, and then create a plan to make sure they overcome those barriers and achieve what they're seeking to achieve. A lot of our stuff is making sure that our young people are ready for that next step. That next step could be a job, or it could be it could be in further education or training. The faces of our workers, the ways that our partners in the community can help us, hosting a student in subsidized work, which, by the way, we pay for. It's kind of a nice benefit, right? If you're an employer, we have young people that need exposure, need experience, and we pay them to work for our partners for a given amount of time. In Summit County, quite frankly, the benefit's quite high to a young person. We can pay up to $8,000 in wages. Other ways that the employers help us: company tours, job shadowing, becoming a mentor, establishing apprenticeships, volunteering. All of those things come into play. These are some of our national partners that also are applicable locally to us. But like I said before, we have over 250 community partners, businesses that hire our kids currently. To give you a kind of framework of how many young people we're working with in our 4-county region, about 1,500 annually for the last couple of years. I'd like to tell you that number has decreased, or the demand has decreased since the pandemic hit, but quite frankly, it's increased. So 1,500 young people a year look to us for some sort of support. We're all about creating pipelines for our young people, right? And it's one of the things that excites me about my job. That's really most of what I do. I'm gonna get the stop share. It's most of what I do. And we have a team of 50 professionals locally that help us to work with young people in these communities. They range from teachers to social workers to business people, all working towards the same goal. And that is to, essentially create productive citizens. As I go through, I've looked at what comprises the Rotary from an outsider looking in. Some of the things are really kind of appealing to me, in that the synergy that exists between what you do as an organization and what JOG does is very, very similar. I was looking at do you guys call them the objects of Rotary? I think that's what it is. And essentially, first you develop an acquaintance as an opportunity for service. That's exactly what we do. We engage young people, we engage businesses, really under the premise of we want to build a relationship. That relationship, is the standard by which we do business. And then from there, what we do with those relationships is we build a pathway, right? We build a pathway that might involve just academic remediation types of tools, but most frequently, it really ends up on the employment side of the equation, creating supports, creating training opportunities, creating bridges to employers, specific employers that really rely on what is the interest and abilities of our young people. And as I shared with you before, we're quite successful in our outcomes. And I heard you say after the Pledge of Allegiance, your 4-way test, right? And if I were to align what your 4-way test is it the truth? For us, we're transparent with our young people. We tell them exactly where their current station is. Is it fair? You know, we mutually set goals for that young person and for the employer if it's appropriate. 3, does it build goodwill and better friendships? I mentioned before, one of the core elements of what JOG does is build relationships. If we don't have a relationship, we're not able to affect change. Our young people don't typically or traditionally have a lot of positive modeling when it comes to either credential attainment, diploma attainment, or employment in their homes. It's not who you know, but who you know that can help you. And oftentimes we're that individual for our young people. And then of course, the 4th pillar was that, is it beneficial to all concerned? Well, we hope so. I showed you the outcomes before, you know, and that's mostly on the participant side, but we'd like to think that our employment partners benefit as well with longstanding employees. That being said, and I saw the question in the chat box, so what's next, right? I think of 2 things. 1, how can we help you? 2, how can you help us? I think with a perspective from how can we help you, you know, collaboration, coordination through your service activities. Not only do we have a professional staff that likes to give back to the community, but as I mentioned, we also have young people that we do the same with. So as you have these activities or functions and you need volunteers, we're happy to engage. We're always looking for those opportunities to expose our young people to people like you, quite frankly, because you're the ones impacting our community. And there are several other ways we collaborate with organizations, but we're all ears. You know, you've heard it a million times, right? It takes a village. It takes a village when we have 1,500 kids. Trust me. When I started here, well, when I took over the reins as the executive director, we had an annual budget of about, I don't know, $300,000 a year. Now we have a budget of well over $5 million a year, and serving, you know, 1,500 plus kids. It's a whole new ballgame, right? But as our numbers increase, we can't lose focus on providing that relationship piece. Oftentimes we can't provide that relationship piece to every kid that walks through our door. We need our community's help. And that's where you can come in if you choose to, if you are thinking about helping. There's a number of different ways that Rotarians can help, the community can help, and that is, you know, becoming a business partner. What does a business partner mean? It means, you know, exposing yourself to our young people with respect to coming into our classrooms and speaking, maybe doing a Zoom presentation. You know, our kids don't really have a lot of, they don't know what they can be because they haven't been exposed to it. Oftentimes they define themselves in this box that they see. And part of our job is expanding that horizon and hopefully those expectations for those young people. I mentioned before, we do have employment partners. We typically arrange subsidized employment for our employment partners. That means we help to pay for the young person on staff, at least initially. Of course, volunteering, we have several pillar activities ranging from, we have a leadership development conference, we have a career development conference, we have a DE&I development conference. Those are activities that we're always looking for volunteers. Board membership, of course, and I'm sure ways we haven't even discussed on this Zoom meeting. But that being said, that's well over 3 minutes that you guys were talking about earlier. I don't think I quite hit my 20-minute mark, but I'm willing to take questions that you may have.
Chris, I do know that there are a number of agencies that are doing job placements for adults. Does your program also then provide tax credits for employers so there's an incentive for them to hire the students then?
Right, there is a tax credit. We don't, well, as if you're familiar with the process, the tax credit goes to those people who, in our case, usually their parents who are receiving some sort of government assistance. if that applies, then your business could also receive a tax credit, yes.
Okay. If there are others of you that have questions, put it in the chat box and we can address them from there, or unmute your phone or computer.
Terry, can you not hear it?
No, we can't hear anybody.
Try a different microphone.
Yeah, somebody asked how employers can get involved. I'm going to be sharing my information with Terry. Actually, the PowerPoint, which will have contact information. And if you are interested as a business or individual in getting involved, we can talk about that, what that looks like. Typically, our employment partners tell us what their needs are. We try to match those needs with young people, and that's how it works. It's pretty simple.
Chris, can you hear me now?
Yes. I can't hear anybody. Yep, almost. There you go.
Okay.
Okay, you're breaking up again. Can you move closer? I'm sorry.
Test it out.
My question is, how does what you're doing interact with the career academies at the Akron school system? And then, because you're statewide, are you seeing other school systems kind of do the same thing that Akron is doing?
So the answer to your first question is yes, we're very involved in the college and career academies. So we are a United Way partner and organization. So we are a member of the Bold Goal 2. So Bold Goal 2 is specific to the college and career academies. And it does two things. Number one, it raises the graduation rate. And number two, it makes young people more prepared for the workforce. So we work hand in hand with the Akron Public Schools and United Way to make that happen. We're in each of the Akron public high schools. Our professionals, we call them career specialists, typically work with 25 to 35 young people in each school. So it's about career tracking, building that bridge to employers, et cetera, for those young people. Number two, the answer to your question is no. There are not other school districts that we're involved with that are doing what Akron is doing. I will offer this. I believe Columbus just hired away one of the administrators for the Akron schools, and I would venture to guess, not just one of the administrators, our past superintendent, I would venture to guess that that is a path that they're going to be taking very soon.
Steve, we can't hear you.
Should be.
Podium is not muted.
Chris, can you hear anything?
I can hear you now.
All right, any other questions from out there?
Can't hear you again, Steve. Steve, we can't hear you.
Try again.
How about now?
Now we can.
Okay, Chris, on the end of the recipients, how aware are middle schoolers and high schoolers of your existence?
So I'm not sure I heard the whole question. You said, you asked about,
Two up there.
We're gonna have to
One is
bypass
always
it.
on, one is always off.
We're having technical, so I apologize. Thank you. We appreciate you coming today. To get this resolved, this is probably the biggest challenge of the 3 meetings that we've had, but we will get through.
Hey, Chris, the question was, how many of the middle school students and high school students are aware of your program?
well, that's a great question. I think the answer is it depends. And it depends if you're in the Akron schools or if you're in a suburban school. In this region. I think in the suburban schools, they have a feeder system into the JOG program. In the Akron schools, it's a little bit more complicated than that because you have young people usually transitioning, not usually, sometimes transitioning from one middle school to a different career or high school sector. So we're working on that, quite frankly, but they're aware of it mostly through our summer work program. We employ anywhere from 500 to 700 young people during the summer. So most of the young people, even if they aren't aware of JOG, they are familiar with summer work. And we're the organization, along with others, who deliver that program.
Okay, with that, we're gonna do our raffle. Julie Brandel pulled a ticket for me, so if you wanna get your tickets out. Winning number 5493917. You. Big progressive pile, probably like $20 you, so you're looking for the joker. Pick a card. What do you got? Ace of spades. Good card, but not for the pot. Here's your winnings. Thank you, Stu.
I'll grab that microphone. All right. Well, thank you, David, and congratulations, Hugh. And Chris, thank you for being with us today. Appreciate all of that wonderful work you're doing with our young people. And I can completely concur with you when you mention about it being holistic and building relationships, because that is the glue that holds it all together. And exciting to hear that you hired one of our folk from Akron up there in Columbus. And we've got an incredible city. We love it. And there are some very progressive approaches that are going on here with education. And we're very, very thankful. But we appreciate you being with us, and thank you for sharing with us. And we'll explore how we might be able to partner with you in some way, shape, or form.
Could we please get his email address? Could he put it in the chat, please?
If you could put in your email address, that would be great in the chat for us, and then we'd be able to reach out. Does anyone else here have any comments or announcements that need to be made? Okay, without any further ado, I'm going to bring our meeting today on October 5th to an end. Thank you.